We've always been really female and really women in every sense of the word, but we've never been little frillies, little delicate kind of lacy, knock 'em over with a pebble types. And,
Can't dial the phone because I'll break my fingernail.
Yeah, right.
Ann and Nancy Wilson. Heart. Ann and Nancy Wilson have always been musicians. When they were growing up in Seattle, they were singing and playing ukuleles for their family. As they got older, Nancy went from ukulele to guitar, and Ann started singing rock and roll.
I was in this group, it was during the period when Nancy and I were playing together because she was still too young to play in
My
clubs.
mother wouldn't let me.
Mom wouldn't let me. Mama. And so I was in a group, and I met this guy whose brother was in the group, and who lived in Canada, and so we really fell in love, just bang. And so I had to go up there, and I quit the group and everything, you know, I just dropped it. I just went, I'm gone. So I went into exile, and so then we formed a group up there, and
Everybody followed you there.
everyone went, wait a minute, we're coming too.
When you were first putting Heart together in Canada, it sounds like it was pretty rough. You're all living in one house. It took you a while to get work permits. Did you ever, for a moment even, think about forgetting the whole thing and just going back to Seattle?
No, it was...
We'd already been
way
playing.
too far gone.
We'd already been playing all our lives.
There's
even
never
then.
any question.
Yeah.
In
Like,
my life.
Before I came up to be with Heart, I was just a solo performer in a little lounge, restaurant lounges, while I was going to college to make extra money so I could buy a better guitar. A real classic story.
Most bands seem to have a certain kind of appeal, either to guys or to ladies, usually not to both. But right from the very beginning, Heart never seemed to have any problem appealing to a mixed audience, really sort of equal numbers of males and females. Is that something that you worked at?
When we started writing together, the lyrics were very direct, real straightforward, real sincere, taken right out of our lives, and that's probably why, especially with women, they went, hey, God, we have a choice? And then men went, hey, okay, this sounds pretty good to me, too.
Yeah.
Your first album was an instantaneous success. Did you have any idea that you'd hit the big time so fast?
Well, we had hopes. We had high, oh, God, I hate that, too. That song, High Hopes. But, yeah, we had those, but we didn't expect anything to happen. Like, I can remember Shelley Siegel, one of the guys that worked at Mushroom, coming in and saying, you kids, this is gonna sell 1 million, wow, And I'd go, come on, Shelley.
Okay, whatever you say.
Sure, Shelley. But it turned out selling about 3.5, I think.
Yeah. Most people don't have big first albums. I guess Boston did right after we did.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of a drag to have a huge first album, I think.
Well, in a way, it's harder because you have to go out on tour and you only have one album to play.
Yeah, well, I think it's a drag because...
You have to do drum solos and guitar solos and...
Yeah, because then everyone says, what's left for them, like, is their next one going to be as good as their first one? Are they going to be able to follow themselves, and God, what
Will
pressure
success change them?
When we come back, Ann and Nancy talk about coping with scandals and stereotypes off the record. Hart found out that when you get successful, you also get a few new problems to deal with. Ann and Nancy weren't prepared for all of them, especially the rumors that got started during their first big tour.
We came into Detroit one time, and the album was really doing well. And this guy, who shall remain nameless, who was one of our rack jobbers, an independent guy, came back to the dressing room and said to me, Ann, baby, how you doing? How's your lover? And I went, who? Oh, how's your lover, your sister, your lover, And I went, what? My sister is not my lover. Where'd you get that? And he said, oh, come on. Everyone's talking about that. All the DJs know that because I started it around so we can sell some more records. This kind of incest lesbo trip that they were trying to sell records with. That's the kind of stuff that they started up about us, like the Wilson girls do this and they'll come in and do oral, acts of hula hoop on you if you play the record. And none of it was true. And so I just got so mad, you
Oh,
know, that I went
we
back.
both got real mad.
So I went back and I said to my boyfriend, look what they're saying about us, you know. Like Nancy and I are pretty well pure beings, you know, at this point, and they're making us into something real sleazy.
Yeah. Look what they made me do.
Yeah, look what they made me be, you know, in all these people's eyes. And he said, oh, just forget it. You know, it isn't true. You know it's not true. Don't get so mad. Well, it was too late. I was already too mad. And so we wrote Barracuda.
Let's talk about rumors and reputations. Did you have to deal with a lot of, sort of sleazy stories like the Wilson sisters sleep around, stuff like that?
For a while.
Yeah, at first it was a lot harder.
They kind of look at us and go, oh, we know. You know.
Yeah,
Whereas actually Nancy and I, it never even occurred to us that was something that we could do to get somewhere, you know.
Well, that was just way out of the question for us, you know.
Because we're so naive, we just went, well, I guess we gotta work pretty hard and go on tour and really try. But, like, we're not the kind of people that'd go, hey, Nance, if we go down to this radio station, there's a really cute guy there, and he's a program director, you know. You know?
Gee, they'll play our record in 10 minutes.
So that passed by pretty quick. I think people realized that that we weren't the type that were gonna dish it out.
People used to come up to me and say, geez, you play all right for a girl, you know. And like I've said this a lot of times, but it always really, like, it didn't make sense to me. Well, why shouldn't I play all right, you know? Like, me being a girl shouldn't make any difference, really, when it comes down to it. I know it's rare for girls, but I started playing when I was 8, you know, and I didn't know I was a girl really then. I mean, I knew I was, but I was a horse and I was a lot of other things.
You're lots of things when you're 8.
Oh, sure, I mean.
When Ann and Nancy work on songs, they need to get away from everything, their business, their families, and their men. We'll hear why in just a minute. I'm Mary Turner. I know for a lot of your writing, and for a long time you've been writing with your friend Sue Ennis. How do the three of you all work together? How's that work? I know you usually take off for Ann's place at the beach.
It's real important for us to get away from the telephones and the pressures of the business stuff that comes down on our heads. And so we escape, you know, we go away. And it's pretty far away. It's about 4 hours drive. And there is a phone there, but it seldom rings. And we
I seldom leave it plugged in.
Right, and we really need to have that freedom, and it's a really inspiring place to be, because the ocean, Ann's little beach house looks right out over the ocean, and well, you saw that particular beach was real magnificent.
Do you think that it makes any difference that you don't write with any of the guys from the band around?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, because we have sensitivities, being different animals than men are. We just have different sensitivities than men, which is not to say better or worse, but just different, and, you know, vive la différence. But I think that the range of sensitivities is really broad with us.
Quite.
And especially since we're the kind of women who have a really broad range of talents and things we know how to do and things we're not afraid to do. So I think that really extends into our songwriting a lot, and we're real versatile because of that. We like to be versatile.
Yeah, and something else which has always gotten in the way whenever I've worked with, tried to work with men closely, is somehow you always start getting romantically involved with each other. I've always had a lot of trouble working with men without anything happening. And so when the three of us get together, we don't have to worry about that, you know? Like if we went to the beach with a couple of guys, you know, and hung out there
It would
for
be
a
different.
week, you know, all hell would break loose.
Who is this person, Baby Lestrange? How'd you come up with an idea like that for a song?
See, we spent a lot of time going down to visit Sue in Berkeley when she was still at the University of California at Berkeley. And to get to where she lived, you had to drive up University Avenue and past this little tavern, which is this really crazy-looking joint, a spin-off from the 60s called Jacques Lestrange. And it always just intrigued us.
It's a real
you know?
dive, too.
No, it's just a dive. Sorry, Jack.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
But it always intrigued us, the name. How great, you know, Lestrange. And so then we thought we're looking for a title for the album, which would be about this woman rocker who was like a Johnny B. Good type, colorful rock character who has this name, you know, like Johnny B. Good or Dizzy Miss Lizzie or something like that.
Diddy Wah Diddy.
Diddy Wah Diddy. And so we thought of Lestrange, you know, because she's unique and sort of strange. And then Bebe, because she's female. And that's as close as we wanted to get it, you know. You know, we didn't want to make it be, she's a girl!
Being on the road is tough on all musicians, but if you're female, you've got a couple of extra problems to deal with. When we come back, Ann and Nancy talk about touring and what makes all the pain and problems bearable, off the record.
You've spent an amazing amount of time on the road. I remember you were out for something like 10 months after the first album. That's real hard. It's real grueling on your body. I know, but I'm wondering also, what does it do to your social life? Do girls on the road do the same thing as guys? Do you just go out and try to pick up people? How's it work?
Well, like, first of all, you have to find a man who doesn't care about money, who doesn't care that you have more money than him, who doesn't care that you're a raving sex symbol to hundreds of thousands of men and women, who can either go on the road with you or who doesn't care if you're gone all the time and who can handle it and not just go off and be untrue to you. And like, take those three first and it really narrows down the field, you know?
Yeah. Almost to zilch.
Yeah.
To know one of us, or to get to know one of us, is quite an undertaking, because you have to probably be brave enough to deal with all the rest of it.
Well, they have to be as strong as we are, for one thing.
Right. Yeah. And I admire certain men that I've met and that we've met who are brave enough to just get through that kind of barrier initially, enough to just get to know us as friends even.
Yeah, you know, it isn't hard. Well, for me anyway, I can't speak for you, but it's easy for me to fall in love. I'm always falling in love, yeah, all the time.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, with all the tribulations, what about the benefits of the road? You must love performing. Is it a big emotional release for you?
Most definitely. It's an emotional and a physical and a spiritual and every other kind of release there is. Like on the road, and we've been on the road probably more than most groups, or so we hear. And
That's what it feels like.
yeah, and being on stage is what makes going on tour worthwhile. The rest of it, I have a little problem with sometimes.
Oh, I have a little problem with that.
Okay, but we won't go into that. But but being on stage is definitely it, and it's just a big thrill. If you're doing it 6 nights a week for 2 months in a row, sometimes it gets hard, but that's almost consistently the best you feel all day and all night out of a day of being on the road, a day in a life, That's the best you're going to feel all day, and everything else leads up to and comes down from that.
I think performance is everything. I don't think there's anything that can make up for a bad performance. No clothes, no makeup, no hype, no tricks you can do in the studio or anything like that. And in heart, that's what we go for, is just the performance.
A lot of guys, a lot of musicians have told me that being on stage is a lot like, it's a huge sexual release.
Oh, I don't know why they say that. Yeah, God, yeah, really it is. It really is. Not only the actual performing of the music, which is a big burst of energy, not unlike orgasm sometimes, but it's the inner relation with the audience. You really just bang something out to them and they go, wow, and they just bang it back to you, It is like that.
Off the Record with Mary Turner has been brought to you by Budweiser, king of beers.